Okay guys, today we're going to talk about actually using the SolidWorks render tool. So within Visualize Pro, if we want to create our final image, we have our render wizard right up top. And if we go ahead and we run that, it's going to take us through a series of commands in order to actually render our image. So we set what we want to render, we say what we want it to save as. We have the opportunity to change a couple things, looking at the height and width of our piece, as well as the resolution pixels per inch of our overall final image. And then we have the ability to change the quality of the rendering. So if we want our full rendering, we're going to want this fancy one. That's the same two options that we found right up here. In order to get everything in our realistic mode, we want this yellow guy. And then we have the opportunity to change the render passes. This is basically saying that as we're rendering, a lot of the different materials can be broken into individual passes. We can break the lighting, the sheen, the colors, and things like that, individual passes. If you are an artist, you can take this and you can work through it in order to take a single rendering, and you can remove or add different things to it. It also just adds a little bit of clarity, but it also adds some time to our actual piece. So we can also change this to a time limit. So we want this rendering to be completed in X amount of time. Do as much as you can in that time and then call it quits. And then we have the ability to change what our part is, where we want to save it, and what camera we want to use. So we saw a second ago, I should actually go back here a little bit, sorry. We saw a second ago we have these three cameras, and if we're under our camera section right up here, you can see that I've created three different cameras. Really, I created one and modified one. Two of them started there when I started the program, but that is our camera selection for what we want to do. And then at the bottom, we've got two options here. We have render and we have queue. So render means that we want to sit down and wait for this to render right now, and it'll go through it and then we're done. Queue allows us to set up a bunch of them and run them all at once. So if I hit render, it's going to pop up into a secondary tab here, and it takes about 2 to 3 minutes for this one. I actually went ahead and paused my video collection and then restarted it when I was done. So we now have our full render, and it went through, and you can kind of see the pixels at the very beginning where this guy had a ton of pixels as it was figuring everything out, and it started to become clearer and clearer. But then we have our final view of, I think this is a aluminum at this point, 1 cup measurement with some water inside of it. And that is our completed render. With this, we can run through the exact same thing looking at our other camera, and I'm going to go ahead and speed through here. Oops. And I can set it, there we go. And this is basically looking at it if I went to, instead of my regular hit render, I hit Q, and it popped up this new little tab right here. And this new little tab has the opportunity to physically go in, and we can have a bunch of different jobs. So we've got our one job right here. We can have a bunch of different jobs that are going to render all at the same time when we send them through. So those are our options for starting renders. Hopefully that was helpful. Take care.